Welcome to Fearless Finances, where I try to take the fear out of your finances. Today, we're going to turbocharge Dave Ramsey's first 4 baby steps. In case you don't remember what all 4 are, here you go. If you notice, these 4 baby steps involve 2 things: saving money and paying off debts. So, we're going to actually take those 2 ideas from the first 4 baby steps, saving money and paying off our debts, and focus just in on these 2 things. Instead of doing these in a sequential order, like the original baby steps, we're going to do both of these at the same time. Oh yeah, that's how we get the turbocharge. So let's get to it. All right, so we're going to take those 4 baby steps and break them down to these 2 concepts: save money and pay off debt. And again, we're not going to do the save money first and pay off debt second. No, we're not going to do these in sequential order. We're going to do this all at the same time. And that's where we get the turbocharge from. So let's start with the saving money side. Now, I know Dave Ramsey recommends that you have an emergency fund, and that is good to have. But we're going to operate our plan a little bit differently. What I would like you to do is, if you have a retirement plan at work where your employer offers you any sort of match, contribute to that first. And I want you to contribute to that up until at least the match amount. If you can go over the match, perfect. So if your employer gives you a 6% match, you put in the 6%. This means you're getting 100% return for every dollar you put in. This is part of the turbocharging that we're after. I also want you to start a Roth IRA. Now, a Roth IRA is also going to be used as your emergency fund. But we're going to do our level best to never touch either of these accounts. These pennies that you put in there will double and double and double like little baby rabbits once you start getting some money in there. But it doesn't work well if you ever take the money out. And the reason we're going to use a Roth IRA as our emergency fund is it's going to grow for you tax deferred. That's a huge benefit. Because your deposits are after-tax dollars, you can take them out anytime, tax and penalty free, no waiting period. Now this works better for you if you leave this all in there. When you start using this as an emergency fund and your emergency is, I don't know, you want to go to pizza, that's not going to work real well for you. You want to leave this money in there. And the other thing that I would like you to do is put half your savings contribution up to the match, if you can do it, the 6% or whatever your employer offers you, and the full contribution into a Roth IRA. The Roth IRA's contribution limit for the entire year, if you're under age 50, is going to be $7,000. If you're over age 50, you can put in $8,000. Once you get these fully funded, we can talk about other savings alternatives later, but I would put it in the 401k. And maybe have a nice little money market for those emergencies that are not pizza. Let's talk about your debt column. Over here, the paying off debt, you start making minimum payments only. Now I know, if you've been doing baby steps, you've probably been doing more than just the minimums over here. And I also know that if you have this debt on credit cards, that interest is probably excessive. But that's going to be the second thing you're going to work on, is getting the cost of that interest down. I'm going to give you 2 recommendations. One of them is take advantage of 0% financing offers. Now, a lot of times for these, there's a transfer balance percentage. You might have to pay like 3 to 5% on the balance transfer to get the 0% for a year or maybe 18 months. But think about it. You just paid 3% to get 0% for 18 months or a year. That is saving you some money off of a 22 or a 25 or a 28% interest on your credit card. The other thing that I want you to consider is getting yourself a line of credit. I have one attached to my checking account. And it's at a percentage point or 2 above prime. You can also get yourself something called a HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit. See? So if you have some equity in your home, you can get yourself a HELOC. Many times the HELOCs are going to be maybe 1, if your credit is good, 1 percentage point above prime. Now, I don't usually leave money here, but it is a nice little resting place when I do have an emergency and I'm not quite sure in that moment how I might pay for it. It's also a lot better to have your debt parked here at these lower interest rates than again on your credit card. Now, you might be wondering, Renee, how is any of this gonna turbocharge me? I'm still working on paying off my debt, and I'm not making as big a payments over here, and I got all this money going to savings. This is the thing. The moment this savings matches this debt, you're debt free. Now granted, you still got to make the payments over here, but I am telling you, if you put this in the S&P 500, on average, it has earned over 10% a year. If over here, you're getting 3, 5, or 9, this will likely grow faster than this. And this is the other thing. When you apply compounding interest to all this savings over here, the earlier you get started, the better off you're going to be financially. We can use this special rule called the Rule of 72 to watch how fast this is going to grow. And we can also use this Rule of 72 to see the value of starting earlier instead of later. If you're 25 and you have this $7,000 in this account under the Rule of 72 at 7.2% interest, your money will double in 10 years. This means at 35, you've got $14,000. 45, $28,000. 55, $56,000. 65, $112,000. I just want to pop in really quick and see if you're enjoying this content. Please subscribe and like this video so others can see it. And if you do have any questions for me or insight about how these ideas work, please note it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Back to the regular programming. Start all this at 35 instead, working on paying off all this debt first. This is going to take you a lot longer. That 35-year-old with the $7,000 in there at 45 has $14,000, 55 has $28,000, 65 only has $56,000. Are you with me? We are losing free pennies every time we focus on paying off this debt first before getting this money saved. And I know that Dave Ramsey, I've seen his show. People call in, shouldn't I be taking advantage of my employer match? He tells you no. I tell you yes. Why in the world would you give up free money? And by the way, I don't even really want to call it free money because your employer has figured that match into your compensation. If you don't take it, you're giving up some of the money you're rightly owed. So, turbocharge your first 4 baby steps. And if you like this idea, I suggest you watch this video right here about baby step number 5, planning for college savings. See you soon.